Oliver Thomas, and we got Dr. Andrea Boyles sitting in for the great Nicole Collins. And we are joined in studio. We have quite the treat this morning.
Yes.
We have Brother Lawrence Youngblood.
Yes,
he
yes,
gave
yes.
us this big giant book that he wrote. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I gotta read it.
It's
now.
actually two more. It's a trilogy.
It's a trilogy.
Yes,
So,
yes.
And Lawrence, you have an initiative. It's called the Raised in Violence Initiative. You're
Yes,
forming
sir.
your 501c3. Talk to us about what the initiative is and who you are. First of all, before you get into that, who is Lawrence Youngblood? Where you come from?
I'm born and raised New Orleans.
Okay.
From the uptown area. Two kids.
Where you went to high? Where did you go to high school?
Well, I didn't make it to high school.
Okay.
Yet, but I dropped out in the 8th grade, but I eventually got my GED in a couple of trades.
Okay.
But 7 grandkids. I'll be 49 in 2 weeks. So, and at one part, I was part of the problem. Now I want to be a part of the solution.
I got you. So you changed your life around.
Yes.
So you dropped out of school in the 8th grade, and then what happened after you dropped out of school? What you started doing?
I headed into the streets. Got sucked up by the streets. Just living violently, as my book says. Raised in violence. And a lot of it stems from emotional and mental health issues. You know what I'm saying? And yeah.
I got it. So you found yourself then incarcerated. So you spent 23 years in jail.
Well, it was actually 3 terms, but my last one I did was 15 years flat. By the grace of God, October I'd be 6 years free. It's the longest I ever been on the street. Because I'm in and out, in and out.
So why? What happened, bro? I mean, why did I can understand you're young,
right?
And so you did something wrong. You got caught up.
Right.
You didn't learn your lesson.
Right.
So why you feel like you kept getting sucked into this life of crime? Why now have you been able to turn your life around?
Well, it's like it's a cycle. It's an ongoing cycle. You go in, you think you're gonna get better, but you don't. You come back out, you go to the same thing over and over. But it's like what my dad told me, but before he passed, he said, "See when you get tired, you gonna get your life together." And when I went to jail my last time, I was like, "Man, I'm tired, man."
So what do you mean by tired? I hear people say that.
Like
you just tired of going to jail. What do you mean you're tired? You learned your lesson.
The whole picture of just doing bad, oh man. But there's always been in me to do right, but I just couldn't, just couldn't get it right. When I was in prison, it was like I'm into the foolishness, that comes along with the prison life. But then, like I say, on my last prison term, I was like, I got to get it together. So I got in all constructive things that, start rehabilitating myself.
Well, what clicked? That's what I'm trying to get to. What clicked? This last term, what happened where you said, forget all this foolishness?
Right, yeah, it was like, I'm tired. I was like, I'm tired of hurting myself, tired of hurting my mother, tired of hurting my kids. It's like, no, it got to be a better way. It got to be a better way.
Now, you're talking to a lady who specializes. She's a criminologist. She's a sociologist.
Yes.
She talk to this young man about your experience and how it relates to his life, if you can.
Yeah, let me first say, I'm so glad that you're here with us this morning. I really appreciate your story. I ask questions to people, because I think context matters.
Right.
And with you, I was able to actually see like your path to this point. And congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I think it is very commendable, the hard work that you have done to turn your life around. And so I really want to take space to, just sort of encourage that and to say we see you, we hear you, and appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
That said, would you speak to our audience? Like, I study this stuff, so my perspectives are sometimes very, very different. And I won't say necessarily fully different from our community, but I understand some of the factors and the nuances. Will you talk to us about your experience? Like, people think folks in our community come into violence because the parents are just horrible, or sometimes I guess, can you just, and you work with young people too, that's the other piece, you
Right.
work with young people. Can you help us better understand, like, the moving pieces? Like, how do you get captured in this lifestyle? Because I hear you saying you got tired of doing wrong.
Right.
So that means you knew and understood what was right.
Right.
How do our young people get captured in that?
See, a lot of us, we start off young, you know what I'm saying? We're influenced by, peer pressure, the flashy cars and so forth. And a lot of us don't understand that we have a choice. They don't understand the significance of a choice. At the end of the day, it's about choices. And, as far as like in and out, doing the same old thing. Eventually, man, you gonna get tired. You got all this murder and going back and forth to jail. You gonna wake up, but at some point you gotta see, man. Look at young blood, man. I don't want to end up like him in his 40s trying to get his life together. You know what I'm saying? It's a better way. Let me see what he got to say and go from there.
Yeah. I have so many questions.
Right.
Because I think your story is so rich.
Right.
And I think it is very meaningful
Mhm.
because we do have communities that disproportionately face violence.
Right.
What do you tell in our youth? How do you, because you're working with them all the time. You're one of those folks I say are front line, right?
Yeah,
You're
right,
in the
right,
trenches,
right,
like
right,
real time
right,
in
right,
the trenches.
Right.
What are you hearing from them? Like, when you work with them, because I imagine they say stuff to you they probably not
Right.
gonna say to a lot of people.
Right. It's like a lot of them they want money,
Yes.
know, and I try to tell them, man, try to get you a trade. You know what I'm saying? If you can't find a job, go to trade school. Don't wind up going to jail and forced to get the trade. Because it's all there. But so the choices is yours. While you out here, try to do right. Stop hurting your mother. You know what I'm saying? Your people. I understand the impact that you do in the community. You wonder why the people calling the police on you because you out there selling drugs in their neighborhood. The property value of their houses going down. They trying to protect their interests. And also, nobody want to live in all that kind of foolishness, murder, crime, and prostitution, and all that. People getting tired of that. So, you got to respect that. So, don't be mad when the people call the police on you and put you in jail.
Now, let me ask you, though. I got to keep it real with you.
Right.
What makes you qualified now? I mean, I know you did what you did.
Mm-hmm.
I still am not clear on what clicked in your mind to make you say, A, this is not the way to go. And then B, why would some parent trust their child to talk to you? What do you bring to the table?
I have a better chance than, people in office or people that's corrections, because I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I have a better chance of reaching them. I'm basically one of them. I've been there and I've done that. I can show you, hey man.
So what can you tell that kid to make them change different than what the politician can say, different than what some other person can say? What is your message?
I've been there, I've done that. Straighten up, man. You don't want to go that route.
I get it. So we got a caller on line one. We got James on line one. James, you're on with Dr. Boyles, and we have a guest with us, Lawrence Youngblood, who's been in and out of the system, turned his life around, got this initiative. What say you, James?
Hey man, I think I spoke to Mr. Youngblood first. So good morning, y'all.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, James.
Right.
About a year or so back.
Right.
About the same thing.
Yeah, I remember.
My question is, I've been a person that been around, raised in families that did get in trouble, but I for whatever reason it always escaped me. So I don't have them stories to tell them youngsters that I see out there doing bad. I do have one story that I can share real quick, but that's on the back end of this. First thing I want to know is, how does a person, a square, talk to them when they see better than you? Like, I'm looking at you, open the car door, and throw the trash out in the street. You know what I'm saying? I tell you about it, you blow me down. Like how does a person who is big on cleaning up my community and helping the old people in my community, you know, do things, take the trash cans in.
That's a great question, James.
Help them with whatever, you know, like a fence or a tree or something, you know. I take care of my neighborhood, I shepherd my neighborhood. How do I talk to the youngsters that pass by and take all that for granted?
Thank you, James. That's a great question. So James was like, bruh, if I talk to these youngsters, they out here carrying a gun and they got a bad attitude, and I say, man, clean up that mess, they might try to shoot me. How do I communicate with that young kid?
It's your approach. It's just, you got to let them know that I come with empathy. I come with compassion. You know, hey brother, you know, it's a better way of conducting yourself. You know what I'm saying? And respect, it takes you a long way.
So it's just the way you approach it, your
exactly.
tone, the way you
I come
communicate.
in peace, man. I come in peace, but you know.
So if I come at you hard, say, bro, clean up that mess,
I mean,
you're gonna get
every
something
action
back.
has a reaction.
I got
and
you.
if you coming with ignorance, I mean, you gonna get that same energy.
Well, it's not ignorance. I'm saying clean up your mess, man. You don't be throwing this
listen
out
that
here.
your tone.
No, this is my tone. I gotta say it the right way. So I gotta be nice to these young guys. I gotta say, hey, sir, young
No,
fella.
I wouldn't say I'm be humble, but humble. I mean,
Okay,
hey man, you know, hey bro, that ain't right. Come on, you know,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
handle your business.
But if you like,
got you.
if he flash out, all right, the choice is yours.
There you go. There you go. I got you.
I'm hearing relatability.
Right.
Like you gotta be able to. That's what I hear from you and understand.
Right.
Like, and that's what makes you qualified to do what you do because you've been there.
Right.
You got a story, right?
Right.
You have the real time experience to say,
Right.
this is the road I traveled for this number of said years and for all these different reasons. You can speak from that place and so they can relate. I appreciate that. Can you, I think my question, or at least my ask would be, can you communicate that to some of us who may be educators, some of us who may be parents, some of us that, because people are often frustrated, like, if you say something to them, they gon', you know, don't nobody want to get in a fight or argument or be shot, or, you know, I can't talk to the parents, I can't talk to the kids, I can't talk to nobody, how do we fix this in our community? As a person from that space, can you walk us through that? I understand, but some of us don't.
Right.
Help us with that.
Right. All of them, and I agree with you, because sometimes it's better to say, you know, hey, I'm not going to mess with that situation.
Yeah.
You know? But for the most part, you know, like I said, you can just approach with compassion and love, you know, because a lot of them, they really want to be heard. They want a way out, believe it or not. Because I know when I was in there, I was like, it was always something in me like, this not living, man. This got to be a better way, you know what I'm saying?
All right, we got another caller. We have Aaron on line 2. Aaron, good morning. You're talking to Mr. Lawrence Youngblood here this morning.
Good morning, how y'all doing?
Good
Oh,
morning.
that's Aaron. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? They spelled it wrong. How you doing?
I'm maintaining. Shout out to the ball, that's one of the political party. I just want to say, can y'all speak to the conditions that are created that makes the weak, the winter, as well as what this book is talking about? Because like you were saying in the beginning, nobody just wakes up and just say, I'm going to take and kill somebody, I'm going to take crime today or whatever. Speak to the conditions that create that type of mindset that causes those type of actions as well as these actions.
Right. He said about food. It's the mindset, and that's our goal, to try to get them to change their mindset. Once you change the mindset, you change the people.
That's it.
Not so much as the mindset. I'm saying speak to the conditions that create that particular mindset. And that by you being a criminologist, I'm thinking that you'll be able to better understand what I'm saying. You know, like as it relates to
The factors,
Right.
the factors that play into,
yes, ma'am.
Right.
yeah.
Right, that creates that particular mindset, because again,
Nobody just wakes up out the blue and just say,
Right.
do this. You know, that's a form of like learned behavior. So
Right.
certain conditions that's created to create that particular criminal mindset.
So-
Because criminals are not born, criminals are created.
Aaron is bringing up an interesting point. There are people who say, you know, black people are just prone for criminality. It's part of our DNA. It's nothing that we can do to stop it. Aaron is saying that that's not true.
That's not true.
So help us understand why that's not true, and if that's not true, why is this a factor in our lives?
I come back to what Brother Lawrence, can I call you Brother Lawrence?
It's fine.
Brother Lawrence Youngblood said when I asked him earlier,
Mm-hmm.
what were some of the things that kind of nudged you into that direction? And one of the things he said, or what are you hearing from the young people, is what I asked him also.
Right. That's
And
right.
one of the things he said was money. I keep talking about that. We know that part of those factors and conditions, there are numerous, but one of them is sometimes desperation. This economic need to have money.
Right.
Folks are trying to have money, so people start doing desperate stuff, getting off into desperate actions that sometimes means trauma for everybody close and near and dear to us. And there are other things he mentioned,
But in Lawrence's
emotions
part-
and mental stuff. So
Right.
if you could speak those, that's
Yeah.
what the caller I
Right,
believe
right.
is asking.
Yeah,
So
there
if
you
you could
go.
just kind of expound on those different reasons.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for
Well,
calling.
it's the behavior, you know. We like you said, you don't wake up and want to be a criminal. It's
Yeah.
just like the subtitle of my book. To ask why I went from good to bad to worse is to ignore from which I came. You got to understand the conditions I grew
Oh, I
up
love
in.
that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you change the community and the mindset of the people that's doing all these criminal acts and so forth, you wouldn't have all the crime and the job, the lesser jobs and the high incarceration rates and so forth. You know, like I said, you change the mindset of people, make the conditions better jobs, and everybody will prosper.
All right, go ahead.
What I hear a lot of times is, I'm from the younger people, you tell me if this matches. I'm trying to get paid. I'm in these streets trying to turn up. I'm just trying to get paid. I'm just trying to have, that kind of, yeah.
Well, we got to take our break. We got Larry. I see you on hold, Larry. Hang on for us. We're going to take our break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the condition. I love the subtitle.
Yeah.
To ask for why I went from good to bad to worse is to ignore from which I came.
Exactly.
We're going to talk about that
Yeah.
when we come back. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. Whose station is it?
Your station.
I like the way you say that. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Good stuff. And we are back. Man, we are having, I tell you what, like Oliver always says, if you could have the conversation off there, on the air, it'd be
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But you're listening to Jeff Thomas, sitting in for the great Oliver Thomas
Yeah.
and the great volunteer. And we have with me Dr. Andrea S. Boyles, the great criminologist, sociologist, PhD. And we're talking this morning with a great young man who
Yes.
I'm getting into. I met you here for the first time,
Right.
Mr. Lawrence Youngblood. He's telling his story about, he wrote a book, ladies and gentlemen, called Raised in Violence. And the subtitle is To Ask Why I Went From Good to Bad to Worse is to Ignore from Which I Came.
Right.
And I want to talk about the word from which you came.
Right.
That's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, you mentioned earlier, I asked you, the question we always ask in New Orleans is where you went to school.
Yeah.
And they don't have to say high school, where you went to school, and everybody knows they're not talking about college.
Yeah,
They're not talking about your
yeah.
PhD. They're talking about where you went to high school.
Right.
And I asked you that, and you said what? I didn't go to high school.
Right.
Right? You didn't make it there.
Right.
And so immediately in my mind, I thought, well, this is a kid who's having a problem.
Right.
This is a kid. And so it makes me wonder, I often hear people say, well, it starts in the family.
Right.
And if the family is broken, then the kids are broken. And in your book, you talk about how your parents both suffer from depression and substance abuse.
Right.
How did that contribute to you being able to drop out? Because my kids couldn't have dropped out of school in the 8th grade.
Right.
How did that contribute to what happened to you in your life?
Right. There's no disrespect to any family or my family, but it is what it is. If you have proper parenting, the guide kids into the right direction, parenting right, raising right, you wouldn't have a lot of issues that's going on. It starts in the house.
So would you say that happened to you? That talk about the breakdown in your family. Talk about how that contributed to where you are. What happened to you, and how you got to be where you are
It
today.
was dysfunction. I was raised by a mother who, in the early 20s, 3 kids, trying to make it. She lacked economic skills, and all she know how to do is work. And her anger issues too is like more abusive, like, and I couldn't understand how a mother. It's hard to raise a boy that's adventurous and is trying to be a boy, and she really, going through her issues too. So I don't fault my mom at all. But
Sure, sure.
it starts, like I said, it starts with the in the household.
I get it. And so because of that, because you were a boy, being a boy, your mother had her issues that she was dealing with.
Right.
It contributed to your being able to venture off into yourself, and so you didn't have the proper guidance.
Right.
And you talked off air a little bit about generational curses.
Right.
And you talked off air about how this affects many people in our community.
Exactly.
But you're saying that we can break that curse.
Exactly.
You're saying that even though you went through that,
Yeah.
you're here today
Right.
to help families stop that.
Right.
How do you do that?
It's resources and understanding and identifying the problem in the look, this has been happening generation when is it going to stop, and so I'm going to be the one to say, hey man, we got to get it together, at some point, y'all got to get together too, y'all got to help me, because I can't do this by myself.
So what's your plan? What's your plan for your family? You say you have how many grandkids?
I got seven
grandkids, three kids?
2 kids.
2 kids, 7 grandkids. So you got a big family.
Right.
And it's growing.
Right.
It's going to continue to grow.
Right.
You're the guy who's saying, stop all the foolishness.
Right.
The young bloods from here on out are going to be positive contributors to our society. Leadership. How are you going to lead? What do you do? What's your message to your
doing
family?
all the right things, setting them in proper places, networking, tell them how to go right, how to do this right, you know what I'm saying? And being compassionate and love.
Give me a specific. You wrote a whole book. Book got about 300 pages in it.
Right. Well, it's 2 more books too. So,
yeah. So I know you got some nuggets you can drop on us.
Right.
Give me some message that you're going to deliver to your family that is universal, that everybody's family should hear.
Right. Man, I've been there. I've done that. What you're doing is not the right way. Let's do it this way. Let's try it this way. You know.
So what I'm hearing is about your approach. It's about the tone. It's about
leading by example.
And leading by example. There you go.
It's like, man, you read my book. I'm known for you name it. I'm known for those criminal activities.
You did it.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But to see me today, you see a lot of them be like, man, I'm very, very proud of you, man. Wow.
You transformed your life.
And that's the message I want to be. I want to inspire. Like, man, dude can do it. I know I can do it.
And so some young brother on the corner that you walk up on, you walk up with empathy. You say, bro, look, I'm here to try to help you change your life.
Right. I got a message. Let me convince you, man, to put that down and show you the right way, man.
What's the message? What's the message?
The message is, man, get it together, brother. It's a better way. It's a better way.
I got it. And so tell me about your initiative. What do you guys do? Do you have some place that you go that kids can go?
Yeah,
I know
Go ahead.
I know you're forming your 501c3.
Yes.
Tell me what the plans are long term. How you plan to help our community and make it a better place?
Ministering to the youth. We're operating out of Lord of the Harvest Church at 2200 Jackson Avenue. So we're in partnership with them, and so we're gonna start having not Bible studies, but meetings, group meetings. Just the things that I've learned in prison, like we had anger management class.
I forgot we had Larry on line 1.
Right.
Larry, I'm sorry, I'm sitting in here talking so much.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's talk to Larry. Larry, how you doing? You've been holding a long time. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I've always been forgotten.
Cool.
Now, he made a statement that he dropped out at 15. That was 35 years ago. Has nothing really changed since then? Urban League used to come out, I think they still do, with a package that tells you Black New Orleans, how all the demographics about it, data. And it's the same data that they have now. I mean, we just, it's look, what you call him came out, or Oliver Thomas about 2 weeks ago. He mentioned that white people in New Orleans make 13 times much as Black people. Did you hear me, doctor?
Yes.
Criminologist?
Yes.
13 times as much.
Yes.
So what happens with young Black boys? They're dropping out. If you find out to the school system who's dropping out, at that age that your boy right now, young blood did,
yes.
The same thing. Most of them are disproportionately Black boys. So what do you think they do? You think they go home and play checkers and chess? No. They go home and figure out, they go to the underworld because it's like a magnet. That's where the quick money is. New Orleans has always been like that since I was a kid. And I was a kid 100 years ago.
You're not that old, Larry, but you make great points.
That's what goes to it, bro. And I had some dudes that been in and out of Angola. One of my best friends did 25 years for selling heroin. 25 years. He got out and he died. So I know a bunch of dudes that have been in Angola that I consider my friends. I didn't go that far. I could write, as I was speaking to the professor, because usually, sometimes academia missed the boat. I could write a dissertation on what's happening with New Orleans. It's a poor city. There are 20 million people that come here a year for us. Music, ambiance, food, all Black people. For Black people. But we get none of that. So the same old problem is happening. So we're going around in America around a cycle. We could talk about it, but man, I'm not a depressive kind of dude. I'm very positive.
Yes, you are.
But nothing has really changed. I mean, I hear the doctors mentioning things that could be done, but it's a poor city, baby.
Larry, we thank you for your call. We're out of time for this segment. Thank you. I'm sorry I kept you on hold so long. Thanks for holding on.
And there are
2 minutes,
a lot of theories,
minute.
a lot of theories that I could throw out there, but I will translate and say that, a lot of times our youth just turn up on the block. I may not ever be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, but I'm the man on my block. I'm the leader of the block, and so that translates the same sometimes for them.
Let's give the last word to Mr. Youngblood here. What do you want the audience to know about what you're doing, where you're going, and what we can expect from you?
Great things, like not only we going to be going out into the community, reaching out, talking to the youth. With this, we're going to be really trying to get people that's on drugs into rehabilitation centers. You know what I'm saying, and things like that.
Well, each one save one. You're gonna save more than one or two or three.
Right. We can't save them all, but if we can save one, we made a difference.
Yeah. And so, how can people reach you? How can people find you going forward? You got a website, some social media?
At RaisedInViolence.com.
At Raised in Violence, so that's your Twitter, and Raised in Violence is your RaisedInViolence.com is your website. They can find you there, and your social media, your Twitter is at Raised in Violence. Huh? Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. It's been great. It's been great. You've been enlightening, and hopefully, our audience picked up a lot. Thank you, Doc, for your great brilliance as usual.
I'm grateful for Lawrence Youngblood.
I tell you.